Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the SH Figuarts Tiger and Bunny Lunatic figure. I have not watched this anime at all, so I don't know anything about the character, so you guys are going to have to judge the likeness for yourself, but I'll be judging the figure as it is, so you guys will get to know if it's a good figure or not. If you want to buy one now, you'll be able to make a better decision for it. This guy is loaded with accessories, which are really cool, and he's got some pretty nice features about the figure also. Some issues, but for the most part, nice paint application, nice sculpt work. It's a very appealing figure, though it's a little odd for sure. It's still really cool looking. So let's get him off the stand and take a look up close. Okay, so this guy stands roughly about 6.5 inches to the top of the pointy part of his head, which makes him just about 16.5 centimeters. So definitely has some good size. He is pretty lanky, but I assume that's intentionally supposed to look that way. And he has some pretty cool paintwork. All that green line work between the blue and the gunmetal and the gray looks really nice. This is actually gunmetal, whereas this is a darker, flatter gray, so that looks cool. The silver parts that's painted looks nice. The white lining. Everything looks really cool on this guy. His head is particularly well detailed, and you can notice, hopefully you can tell on camera, that the blue part of his face is actually translucent, so that's kind of cool also. And then nice paintwork throughout. You can see on the neck lots of line work. Very, very cool looking figure. Lots of details. As far as accessories go, we might as well do those first. He comes with the 2 fist hands, so we have one on either side in the package. That's the way he comes in the package. Then we get 2 style pose hands. So we have these. These are meant to be glossy, by the way, and it looks cool. This guy's full of varying finishes, so that looks good. Then we have 2 trigger finger hands, so that's good. We have 4 other hands, but I'll show you those in a second. First, we have these, which is one is the holster that holds his little crossbow thing, and then these 2 things I'm not sure about, but those you have to put on yourself, so be careful with that. But we have those, and so since we have trigger finger hands and a crossbow holster, we have a crossbow that just kind of snaps in there. It's a little tricky, but it goes in there, and once it's in, it looks pretty good. So we have that. And then, of course, if you want him to use the crossbow, you can't have this, so you have a crossbow that's actually ready to fire. So that's really cool. The blade is out at the bottom. You have this cool flaming blue effect piece at the top. Very nice accessory there. To go with that, you have an alternate head with the flaming blue eyes, I guess. It's his eyes that are glowing or flaming, so that's really cool looking. And then to go with that, we have 2 sets of flaming hands. So these flaming hands have the hands at an angle so that it would look like he's kind of like got his palms up like that. So they peg in and then they're like this. That's really cool. I love the shading on these, the green to blue and clear. That looks really cool. And then we also get some hands that have the flame going straight up, like if he was walking with his palms towards his thighs, like straight down like this. You can see how they peg in like that. So that's how those would go. So again, very cool. So while I was shooting the photos for this figure, I realized that the flame effect hands can all come apart. You can take the flame apart and take the hands out of the flame. It's so you get a bunch of different hands. You get 4 more hands that I didn't realize were actually meant to be used as hands. It's going to be really tricky though, because each flame is at least 3 pieces, and it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle in terms of how to take them apart and put them back together. So I don't necessarily recommend that, but you can do it, and because of that, you will have extra accessories. They all come apart. They like I said, it is a bit tricky sometimes putting them back together, but you can do it. So there you go. But wait, there's more. We also have his cloak, which is kind of not the best design. So we have the cloak. It's hard plastic, so that's what the problem is with it, really. And we have 2 parts to it for 2 different options. So we have the cloak that you would snap together around his body, which doesn't work all that well. I mean, it works on its own just fine. I could snap it together. I'm not going to right now. It's painted really well. It's nice and pearlescent and looks really cool. And you would have him inside that. So that's cool, except it's really hard to get it on him. And if you want one where he's got his hand out with his gun, you can do that using this piece because it's kind of opened up right here. So it's not the worst design, technically speaking, but getting it onto his body is significantly difficult. So I'm not going to do that right now. I'll try to do it for the photos at the end, but since it's not my figure, I can't really risk scratching it too much. So I'll try, but I can't make any promises. Then the last accessory is he has a unique display stand that has his name on it. The standard SH Figuarts display stand, but it's colored and it has his name. So that's really cool. So this guy's loaded with awesome accessories, except for maybe the cloak. As far as articulation goes, you have the standard ball hinge at the top of the neck, and at the bottom of the neck, feels like a standard ball peg, maybe a double, can't say for sure. Shoulders have a ball peg that lets them move around in the torso. Full hinge for the shoulder itself with the shoulder pad connected to the arm, which is really good. It's individually hinged. We have our bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, and then for the wrists, we have ball hinges as you would expect. For the torso, I'm not 100% sure. It feels like a double ball peg at the top, probably a single ball peg at the bottom. It's pretty stiff, doesn't have the best range of motion, but it is there. You can play with it and get him posed fairly well. This is a fixed piece, but it is soft, so it does allow for some posability of the legs, but the only way you can really pose them is if you drop that hinge down, because it's a hinged ball peg, so you have to pull that down, and then you can move them around a little bit. So we have the ball peg, and then a thigh swivel, double jointed knees, really good range of motion. These baggy pants are kind of soft, so they won't be terrible, but luckily the ankles have really solid hinges, so you can bring the hinge all the way forward. The pants shouldn't get in the way too much. Then they have a traditional ankle rocker hinge in there also, so full range of motion there, and a toe hinge, and the feet are die cast as far as I can tell, so he's a little bit stable due to that. These guys do love to pop off, this one in particular, so be careful as you're posing your figure, but he's really, really good. I'm going to have to watch Tiger and Bunny just because of this character. I really, really like all of the blue and green flame effects and the cloak and the crossbow and everything. I could do without that particular face design personally, but it's a really well done figure, give or take a couple tiny issues, but I definitely recommend it. It's really, really nice. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.